Wow. Did you see that? Amazing. And to think, I didn't have any strikes on that channel whatsoever. This should tell you everything you need to know, people. I'm going to try and play their hand, though. I'm going to be as melancholy and non-specific as possible. With a little reverse logic and reasoning, let them pinpoint them for us. Yep, prove it's not me, but the information, thus who their assets are. I will also be uploading on another platform and leaving YouTube altogether. I just got to figure out which is the best place to go. Saying that, one, I'm really dejected. What's going on? I'm deflated. So I'm being this is very melancholy. I'm just going to run through it. I make mistakes. I just make mistakes. I'm just going to run through it. I've already done this video. I'm going to upload the proper one wherever I can find a home. So I just wanted to get this information out. There's 3 videos this week that I'm going to go back over and redo that kind of seal some deals. And I had already messed up and already uploaded them. So YouTube already saw it. They already knew what they said. And as you can see, they said, oh, hell no. And they clipped them wings. They clipped them wings bad. And it's that bad. The information I have is that bad. So I'm going to be as melancholy as I can and get the information out, just to get it out. But again, they're already uploaded. I've already done it, so I got my backup. So whenever I find a home, a place, let me not say that. Whenever I find a place just to upload, I will upload the things that I had in its entirety, how it was meant for you guys to hear. And yeah, but let's do this. Let's see, where was I? Yeah, saying that this is the last video I uploaded with major deletions. I will upload the real version when I finally find a place. Let's begin, shall we? Good day, ladies and gentlemen, little sisters and brothers. Today's video is designed to show you just how dangerous and the amount of soul-crushing damage one lie at just the right place and at just the right time can wrought. Take the Great Commission lie that each and every Israelite with the Spirit of my God flowing in them should have cried foul upon reading in the book of Mark, for instance. What I mean is, didn't we read in the Old Testament prophecy that our ancestors, thus you and I, are giving away our ways to strangers? And didn't the Anointed One tell us not to do anything that stupid, because they will take that same information from you and turn it against you later on? Well, anyone understanding that big picture should have seen the obvious all-out lie in Mark chapter 16, verse 9 through 20. You know, the passage the Christians use to impose their will of their sweet Lord Jesus on the world after hearing and corrupting the good news of the Anointed One from Paul. Check it out. According to Wikipedia, under Mark 16. Yep, Mark, the number 16. Quote, Mark 16 is the final chapter of the Gospel of Mark in the New Testament of the Christian Bible. It begins with, notice it says the Christian Bible. The Christian Bible. Oh, the Christian Bible. That just rings me. Every time I read it, I'm like, they're kind of letting us know something here. But let's continue. It begins with the discovery of an empty tomb by Mary Magdalene and Mary, mother of James and Shalom. There, they encounter a young man dressed in white who announces the resurrection of Jesus. Listen up and listen closely. The 2 oldest manuscripts of Mark 16 then concluded with verse 8. Textual critics, not baptized Scribe YouTube, but textual critics have identified 2 distinct alternative endings. The long ending, verses 9 through 20, and the short ending, or lost ending, which appears together in 6 Greek manuscripts and in dozens of Ethiopic copies. Modern versions of the New Testament generally include the longer ending. Stop. Bingo. So as you can clearly hear, textual critics agree. Mark 16, 9 through 20 is a fake addition to the text. I know you think I'm jumping the gun, so allow me to let the scholars tell you the exact same thing. Under alternative endings, perceptual context, listen up and perceive through the scriptures. I'm going to let the beat rock so you can get the full flavor of the deceptions. Quote, listen up. Many scholars take Mark 16 and 8 as the original ending and believe that the longer ending, Mark 16, 9 through 20, was a later addition. In this 12-verse passage, the author refers to Jesus' appearance to Mary Magdalene, 2 disciples, and then the 11, the 12 apostles excluding Judas. The text concludes with the Great Commission, declaring that believers that have been baptized will be saved while non-believers will be condemned, and pictures Jesus taken to heaven and sitting at the right hand of God. Listen up, listen up. The majority of scholars believe that verse 9 through 20 were not part of the original text and were an addition by later Christians. I'm going to read that part again. The majority, not the minority, the majority of scholars believe that verse 9 through 20 were not part of the original text and were an addition by later Christians. Because of patristic, P-A-T-R-I-S-T-I-C, which is the study of early Christian writers who are designated as church fathers, because of patristic evidence from the late 100s for the existence of copies of Mark with 16, verse 9 through 20, it is contended by some scholars that this passage must have been written or attached no later than the early 2nd century. However, as the earliest copies of Mark, dating from the 4th century, do not include verse 9 through 20, textual evidence tend to support a relatively late insertion of the Great Commission from the 4th century or later. Stop. Bingo. They forged the writings of the individual church leaders, but they couldn't forge all of the manuscripts in circulation until the Inquisition. You know, when they took control and burned all the manuscripts except their forgeries to hide their crimes. As you can also see, the Great Commission that's mainly responsible for you and I being in the Americas was in the forgery as well. I know by now, most of my haters out there who hide their hand are screaming at the computer. Oh, I knew I was going to catch you slipping, you double-tongued demon. Always talking about the low-hanging fruit, not continuing to read. Scribe! Looks like you dangling, boy. The Great Commission is also talked about in the book of Matthew. Ha! Gotcha! Ha! No, you don't. According to Wikipedia, under Gospel of Mark, subtitle, Problems and History. History with city. History. Well, you'll see it. Shit. Sorry. You'll see it. Quote. The Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Listen up. The Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke bear a striking resemblance to each other. So much so that their contents can easily be set side by side in parallel columns. Listen up and perceive. Quote, today, the most widely accepted hypothesis is that Mark was the first gospel and was used as a source by both Matthew and Luke, together with considerable additional material. The strongest argument for this is the fact that Matthew and Luke agree with each other in their sequence of stories and events only when they also agree with Mark. Example, but wait. according to the Gospel of Matthew, according to Wikipedia, under the Gospel of Matthew, under comparisons, subtitle comparisons with other writings. All right. Quote, listen up and perceive. Matthew is a creative reinterpretation of Mark. I'm going to say it again. Matthew is a creative reinterpretation of Mark, stressing Jesus' teaching as much as his acts and making subtle changes in order to stress his divine nature. Example. Now, who else want to mess with Hollywood courts? So, as you can plainly and clearly see, whatever simple mistakes, intentional errors, additions, or deletions in Mark will also most likely show up within the other Gospels in one form or another as well. Now that I've hopefully rightened your minds, let's keep it moving with the original article about the Great Commission edition in the Gospel of Mark. I will let the beat rock again, and we'll address the big issues at the end. Where were we? Oh yeah, quote, scholars are divided on the question of whether the long ending was created deliberately to finish the Gospel of Mark, or if it began its existence as a freestanding text which was used to patch the otherwise abruptly ending text of Mark. But notice, they all still agree it's a forgery. Quote, a second issue is whether Mark intended the end of Mark 16:8 or not. The references to a future meeting in Galilee between Jesus and his disciples could suggest that Mark intended to write beyond 16:8. But there is scholarly, I gotta work that out. I'm sorry. I know. I gotta work that out. Old habits are hard to die, just like war. I know little Miss Ivy's probably having little DTs right now. We call it withdrawals right now from war, but we can't do it no more. Man. Well, let's continue. Listen up. But there is scholarly work that suggests the short ending is more appropriate as it fits with the reversal of expectation theme in the Gospel of Mark. Listen up and perceive. The Council of Trent, reacting to the protestant criticism, defined the canon of Trent, which is the Roman Catholic biblical canon. Notice, just like the KJV, the Catholic Bible is designed not for the truth of the matter, but instead to get some of their minds right. Quote, the Decorum de Canonibus Scripturis, issued in 1546 at the fourth session of the council, affirms that Jesus commanded that the Gospels was, personal quote, to be preached by his apostles to every creature. A statement clearly based on Mark 16:15. Since Mark 16:9-20 is part of the Gospel of Mark in the Vulgate, and the passage has been routinely read in the churches since ancient times, the council's decree affirms the canonical status of the passage. Stop. Behold, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. They just told us everything we need to know. I know I'm running through it, not like I usually do, but there you go. They just told us everything we need to know. But let's continue. But I want you to see how fast and furious this lie passed on. Check it out. Quote, this passage was also used by Protestants during the Protestant Reformation. Martin Luther used Mark 16:16 as the basis for the doctrine of his shorter catechism. Mark 16:9-20 was included in the Rheims New Testament, the 1599 Geneva Bible, the King James Bible, and other influential translations. In most modern-day translations, based primarily on the Alexandria text, it is included but is accompanied by brackets or by special notes or both. Stop. I guess the old saying, I guess this saying is true. You know, a lie don't care who tells it. Wow. All of the Christians on a great mission. A mission from their God. And to think it was all made up from the start. Let's continue with this article so I can crush the one remaining doubt you had lingering. I should have took that out. Under external evidence, subtitle, manuscripts omitting Mark 16:9 through 20. As you see, I'm trying to go all around, trying to encompass this thing. So there is no way out. There is no escape this stuff, man. Yeah. I hope my enemies understand that. I'm encompassing you. Oops. Man, I'm messing up so bad. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. I didn't mean to say that, enemy. I didn't mean to say that. That's not true. That's not true. Man, I'm messing up bad. I hope this goes through. Let's continue. Quote. The last 12 verses, Mark 16:9 through 20, are not present in two 4th century manuscripts. The Codex Sinaiticus and the Codex Vaticanus. The earliest complete manuscripts of Mark, and the ones that are used, they was used for the writing of the KJV too. But getting that to tomorrow, or maybe the next day, or whenever the next 2 videos. I think we'll get to that. Let's continue. Quote: other manuscripts that omit the last 12 verses include the minuscule 304, which was in the 12th century, the Syriac, the same Sinaiticus, which was from the late 4th century, and a Sahadic manuscript. Listen up, listen to this. In addition to these, over 100 Armenian manuscripts, as well as the 2 oldest Georgian manuscripts, also admit this appendix. Example. So as you can plainly see, ladies and gentlemen, the mandate/action to preach anything to anyone other than the lost sheep of the house of Israel was one big lie. And through a string of unfortunate calculated events, just like the Anointed One warned, they rend you with this. As we can plainly and clearly see, deduce, and surmise, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, how do I say this? The scholars mandate to conquer, well, I'm not going to say this. Somebody's mandate to conquer the world, like it states in Genesis, the first creation, was facilitated by and powered through an all-out forgery fib. But I know some of your doubt demons were strong in you. And even though they are gasping for air and straws, they are nagging you to want to say, this is what you want to say. Scribe. Scribe. Paying attention to every word coming out of your mouth with the intentions of catching you slipping is my business, boy. And today business is great. Everybody. Hey, everybody. This is what he do to everybody else. Everybody. Everybody. Behold. This is how you destroy a cherry-picking scribe with his own words. Listen up. Hey, scribe. You all up in arms, hooping and hollering about how the Latin was changed this and how the Latin version was changed that. But hear my question real carefully, scribe. I don't want you to get out of this. Hear it real carefully. But didn't you just read to us? You just read to us, scribe. The KJV and others was also translated from the Greek. Yep, your beloved Greek, scribe. What? Silence, scribe. Silence, you devil. I got you over a catch-22 barrel, you sucker. So let me break it down for you, just in case you're too dumb to understand right now. In essence, what I'm trying to tell you, Mr. Know-it-all, Mr. I want to read Greek, unless you can somehow show the people the Greek used for the Hebrew Christian holy writings, you know, all of the translations mentioned earlier, which include my beloved KJV, unless you can somehow defy all compound probability, defy all actuarial science, unless you can defy all the odds and show the people the Greek used for the Christian world was somehow tainted or different than the original Greek of antiquity, like your beloved Septuagint. I mean, you need to show us this beyond a shadow of a doubt, Scribe. It needs to be beyond a shadow of a doubt. None of that subjective crap you always trying to push on us. I be checking you out. So unless you can pull this out of your buttocks, Mr. Dear Scribe, unless you have the juice to produce, I demand you shut this channel down, just like YouTube just shut you down. YouTube just shut you down. I demand you shut this one down if you can't produce, Scribe. What say you, chump? I'm going to say, I'm going to take the fiduciary measures that a little Miss Ivy and I have, and I'm going to speak for her. I'm pretty sure she does not like what she just heard, so I have no other choice. She would skin me alive if I did not accept on all of your terms, each and every one of them.